So, this is gonna be a longer video, so probably a little less editing going on here. I apologize for that, but I just want to have it be a chill and optimistic look at 2021 movies. 2020 has been a bit of a mess of a year when it comes to films, albeit there were some good movies that came out in 2020. Some YouTubers are starting to release their 2020 movie top 10s, and I feel like they were so pessimistic about the year, they forgot to look at streaming services and look for certain films, so I took it upon myself to do my own list. That said, we have a lot to look forward to in 2021. So I just want to run through a ton of movies that are being released in 2021. Now, I don't think all of these movies are being released in 2021. What happened is that so many movies got cancelled due to coronavirus, and they all got shoved into the year 2021. Right now it looks a little too saturated, but I expect some of these movies to go from 2021 to 2022. Hopefully, I don't know. I just want to start by talking about the superhero movies coming out, because I have a lot to say about that. Then I'm going to talk about all of the sequels coming out, and there's a fucking there's a huge list. I'm going to power through those. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my top 10 movies that I'm looking forward to. Keep in mind that I go more based on who's making the film rather than the brand of the film. So I'm not going to choose a movie just because it's some franchise I like. If I expect this movie to be good, I'm putting it on my top 10. More of something like, look out for these movies. These are going to be what I expect to be the best movies of 2021. So, without further ado, let's talk about the superhero movies coming out. So as I said before, Marvel didn't really release a movie in 2020. Not that I'm aware of. So it got shot into 2021. So there seems to be a lot of these superhero movies coming out in one year, more than usual in my opinion. So you got Eternals, which was supposed to come out in 2020. I have no clue what Eternals is. I think Angelina Jolie is going to be in that movie. I'm sorry, this is what you guys are signing up for. I don't know superhero movies that well. Okay, so you have Spider-Man 3. I made a video on Spider-Man 3 on how I was a little not optimistic about it. I am happy to see my man Tobey return, but I would have much rathered a Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. Next, you have The Suicide Squad, which is a sequel to Suicide Squad, which I hope they change the title of that movie because it's going to cause mass confusion. This is directed by James Gunn, who had previously directed the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I don't know. So what James Gunn is doing now is Suicide Squad, then he's doing a Guardians of the Galaxy 3, then they announced that he's making a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which I guess is kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy 4. I would much rather see James Gunn move away from superhero movies just for a bit. Not that he hasn't been doing a good job. I liked the 2 other Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I'm pretty sure the Suicide Squad movie is going to be a step up over the previous one. But I liked his movies like Slither and Super, and to see his hands tied to a big studio system, it's cool every once in a while, but I'd want to see him do something else instead of spend 5 movies in a row making Marvel and DC movies, but that's just me. I'm sure a lot of people think otherwise. Then there's a movie called Morbius, which is about a monster vampire. I have no clue what it is, but it's with Jared Leto. Black Widow was supposed to come out in 2020, got pushed to 2021. I find Black Widow, it's like a little too late. I don't know why they're making it now. Spoilers, she died in the last movie, and this is taking place before before the events of Endgame. So I don't really have any interest in a prequel, but alas, they're making it. I did think at a certain period of time a Black Widow movie would have been interesting. Like, before they made Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, Black Widow was... I wanted to see a Black Widow movie because they made her such a mysterious character, and I wanted to see where she goes next, and I think Scarlett Johansson can make for a pretty good action hero. But I think it's just a little too late now. Shang-Chi, have no clue what it is. Another attempt for Disney to pander to China, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna need to stop making jokes like this. Venom 2. I didn't like Venom 1, so I don't think I'll be watching Venom 2. They're making Justice League the Snyder Cut. I didn't like Justice League the first time around, so I don't think I'll be watching it the second time around. It is a cool thing to do, though. It's almost like they're giving it another shot, kind of like what Ridley Scott did with Blade Runner, how they re-edited the film, and the final cut is basically the Blade Runner that we all know and love now. It could be another situation like that. I'll wait to see what people are saying. I watched the first Justice League. So I was working in a high school at the time. I'll go on tangents today. I was working at a high school at the time, and I was supervising a field trip to watch Avengers Infinity War, and everyone loved it. And then a week later, or however much time passed by, and I said, you know what, that trip was such a hit, everyone loved it, I'll just throw on Justice League in the school and have it like a little popcorn movie night and see if people show up. And no one showed up to it, and so many people would just pass by and look at the screen and see those flying bug creatures, and they'd just be like, what the fuck is that movie? What the fuck is that? Like, I don't know. Like, you'd think the main demographic is high school teenagers to one of these superhero movies, and zero interest in a movie that had Superman and Batman and all these heroes in it. So, and lastly, for superhero movies, you have Black Adam, which again is something I have no clue about. I think it's kind of like an indirect sequel to Shazam. Not too sure. Alright, so I got all the superhero movies out of the way. I'm hoping a few get pushed into the following year. I don't think that'll be the case, but this seems like a lot of superhero movies for 1 year. And these are all coming out in the latter part of the year. That's why it feels like a lot to me. If it was spread out throughout the whole year, I'd be a bit more understanding. But yeah, I think some of these are even overlapping on release dates. So now let's go through the sequels. I'm going to make this super fast, super quick, because a lot of these just aren't really up my alley. First sequel we have of the year is Peter Rabbit 2. Am I the only one who has a bit of James Corden fatigue? I feel like he's becoming the next Nicolas Cage in that he'll just accept any script that comes across his desk. I feel like whenever there's a bad movie, James Corden seems to be attached to it, like the Emoji Movie or something like that. Anyway, they're remaking Cinderella, have no clue about that, could be good, I don't know. Coming to America, so Coming to America 2. I like Eddie Murphy, obviously. If you haven't seen Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix, you should watch it. Again, I don't know if I want to see a Coming to America 2. To be honest, I wasn't even that big on the first one, but yeah. It will feel... You know what? Eddie Murphy's shtick is that he plays every character in his own movies, and like he'll do makeup and be a woman, and then he'll be like an old man, and people find that annoying, and I found that annoying when he was doing it too often, but now I'm kind of starting to miss it. Like, I want to see some crappy Eddie Murphy makeup. Masters of the Universe is getting a live-action movie. I hope this goes more the campy route than the serious route. Make it a bit like Thor 3, kind of that vibe. Tom and Jerry, I saw the trailer to that movie. It looks like something that should have come out in like 2009. It kind of looks like one of those Alvin and the Chipmunk movies. They're making a prequel for Kingsman. I've only seen the first Kingsman. I haven't seen Kingsman 2 where they go to America. This prequel seems to be a bit more serious. And I shied away from watching the second movie because the second one kind of looked a little too, like, crazy and weird. So, I don't know. I'll wait to see reviews for that one. Tomb Raider 2. I haven't seen Tomb Raider 1 or Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. Boss Baby 2. Oh my god. They're making a new Paranormal Activity movie. Go for it. I'm not stopping you. Go for it. If that's what puts a roof over your head, go for it. Fast and the Furious 9 is coming out. Not gonna lie, I've only seen one Fast and Furious movie, and it had Jason Statham in it. Oh, I know which one it was. It was the one with The Rock and Jason Statham. Just those two. That's the only one I ever watched. Not gonna lie, it was stupid, but it was a fun time. James Bond, No Time to Die. I really like that Billie Eilish song that came out with it. I'm not that big into James Bond. When it comes to like James Bond, Bourne, and Mission Impossible is like my favorite secret agent franchise. Not too familiar with Bond. I feel like I never got into Bond just because there's so many movies and it feels like such a daunting task to like watch it. But I will see it. I really liked Skyfall. I haven't seen the one that came before this one, so the one after Skyfall. Spectre. I haven't seen Spectre. And I like Casino Royale. So I'm not a biggest Bond fan. I'll watch this if it gets a lot of buzz. If it's not getting a lot of buzz, I won't watch it. That's basically how I work with James Bond. Quiet Place 2. I enjoyed Quiet Place 1. I don't know where you go from here. I guess you have it. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil the first one. Godzilla vs. King Kong. I haven't seen any Godzilla movie that came out recently. Like this new franchise. But that King Kong movie that came out, where it's like Vietnam War, that one was actually pretty good. Like, it's not like the best King Kong movie out there. I think I still prefer the Peter Jackson one. But, yeah. Spiral, this is weird. So they're making a prequel, from what I understand, to Saw, and it stars Chris Rock and Sam Jackson. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty curious. And you know what? They had this whole phase where every horror movie was just like people getting decapitated in the 2000s. Stuff like Final Destination and Saw. And that kind of like went away because they were making way too many. I saw that newest Jigsaw movie and I thought that was a disappointment. It wasn't nearly as gory as I wanted it to be. But I'm a bloodhound, like, I don't know, I'm curious. I want to see what Chris Rock does in a Saw movie. He has been doing more serious stuff lately. He was in the new season of Fargo. And obviously I love Sam Jackson. Great actor. Cruella, based off of Cruella DeVille from 101 Dalmatians. I think I'll skip on that one. I'm a little tired of these live-action Disney cartoon movies. To be honest, I've only seen Jungle Book. And that one was good, but like I didn't feel the need to watch Aladdin or Lion King or stuff like that. They're making a new Conjuring. Okay. Minions Rise of Gru. They're making a Minions prequel again, because I thought the Minions movie was a prequel. I haven't seen any of the Minions movie. I saw Despicable Me 2 in theaters, and it was just me, my brother, and my brother's friend. Yeah, we looked suspicious. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Space Jam 2 with LeBron James. I don't know. It's Space Jam 2. They're remaking Candyman. It stars my Hollywood crush, Teyonah Parris.
I got a girl crush. Hate to admit it, but I got a heart rush. It ain't slowing down.
Teona Paris. Oh. And it actually looks like a good movie. Like, for one of these remakes, I like the original Candyman, and I think I'll probably watch Candyman remake. Uncharted. I watched my brother. I don't play video games. I just watched my brother play video games, and he played Uncharted. Kind of doesn't look all that interesting to me. It's basically just like, I don't know, National Treasure. But you need a bank on the name, I guess. Death of the Nile, which is a sequel to the previous film, which was Murder on the Orient Express. I haven't seen Murder on the Orient Express. I guess I'll watch Death on the Nile if there's nothing around. Halloween Kills. I haven't seen the previous Halloween movie that came out. Fantastic Beasts 3. I saw the first Fantastic Beasts, and I thought it was good. And the reason why I didn't watch Fantastic Beasts 2 is the same reason why I'm not watching The Mandalorian Part 2, Season 2. I feel like there's so much lore and like stuff that only fans would understand that I'm kind of just shying away from it just because I just watch the movies and that's all I do. And these have a lot of references to like books and I don't know what else. But that's what's kind of made me shy away from Fantastic Beasts 2. Also, it had kind of mixed critical reception. Matrix 4. Yes, there's going to be a Matrix 4. And I think this is directed by the directors formerly known as the Wachowski brothers. I don't know. Even Matrix 1 I wasn't that big into, let alone 2 and 3. I hear they made a TV show that was good. I don't know the name of the TV show, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And you know what? I did like Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas was a decent movie. They're making a new Mortal Kombat. I find like, same thing as with that, what I said about Saw. You know what? I don't think people like gore anymore. Which I don't know why. Like, watching gory movies used to be big in the early 2000s. I don't know if gore plays well nowadays. I don't know if like an 18-year-old wants to watch someone's spine get ripped out. That was something when I was 18. I loved seeing that shit. I don't know if people like seeing that anymore. But yeah, they're making a Mortal Kombat. Hopefully they don't cheap out on the gore. I've never played Mortal Kombat. I'm not a gamer. But I'll watch it if it's just people ripping each other apart. Okay? I don't even care if it's a good movie or not. I'm a sick individual, I tell you. There's a special place in hell for this guy. SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run. I watched the last SpongeBob movie. It was called SpongeBob, Sponge Out of Water. Oh my god, I love that movie. I've seen it maybe 3 times. It felt like such an acid trip. There's this part where, this part made me laugh so much, where Plankton goes into SpongeBob's head and everything is like fluffy and all of a sudden there's like this real life cat in his brain. And there's also this good part with a dolphin called Bubbles.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell us when we are?
Who dares disturb the one who watches?
The one who watches? Your name is the one who watches?
No, my true name is Bubbles.
But yeah, I'll watch it if it's like that. They changed the animation style, which I don't know if I'm a fan of. They made it like a mix of 3D animation and 2D animation like they did with the Peanuts movie. I would have rather they stick to 2D animation. But Keanu Reeves is in it. He plays a ball of hay. A tumbleweed, I think. Hotel Transylvania 4. I haven't seen any of the Hotel Transylvania movies. Sing 2, I haven't seen any of the Sing movies. Sherlock Holmes 3. This one is, when was the last Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey Jr.? I hear that Robert Downey Jr. wants Johnny Depp to be the bad guy, which I would love, because Johnny Depp just got kicked out of Fantastic Beasts, and he got replaced with Mads Mikkelsen because of controversies involving his marriage that I don't really keep up with. But I think Johnny Depp is such a talented person that I want to see him in more movies. Because even what he did in Black Mass when he played Whitey Bulger, it was a little cartoony, but I just love how he acts. When you look back at the 90s, he's been in so many good movies. Movies like Ed Wood, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And what he did with Hunter S. Thompson, too. I thought I was watching the real Hunter S. Thompson. So, Johnny Depp, I want to see him make a comeback with this Sherlock Holmes movie. You understood, Warner Brothers? I know you're listening. Last and not least, Escape Room Part 2. I'm not going to watch it, because I almost got an epileptic seizure watching Escape Room Part 1, and I didn't know I could get those. Like, I saw the warning at the beginning of the movie, and my theater gave a warning in advance. And I was like, epileptic seizures, fuck that shit, I don't believe in that shit, I don't get epileptic seizures. I went into that room and watched this movie, and I almost got an epileptic seizure. And it was so bad that I couldn't even rate the movie after I watched it, just because I would have given it a 1 out of 10. It's the only movie that almost gave me an epileptic seizure. Alright, so now, that took a while, jeez. We went through all of the 2021 sequels coming out. I tried to do it as fast as possible, but my brain goes on tangents. I'm going to go through the 10 movies I think are going to be the best of the year. Keep in mind, I'm not aware of everything coming out in 2021. These are just the ones I think are the most interesting. Honourable Mentions, Free Guy, I think looks good. It's with Ryan Reynolds. It's about a video game character who discovers he's in a video game. It looks interesting. It's an original blockbuster, so I'll probably go check it out. Saint Maud and Green Knight, those would have been the top of my list, but they're still not slated to release in 2021, so they could come out in 2022, so I just didn't put them in my list. Antlers, I thought looked like a good horror movie. It's produced by Guillermo del Toro, and he always puts his name on some interesting stuff as a producer. Like, he put his name on Mama, which I thought was a cool movie. Promising Young Woman, I'm still unsure if this is a 2020 movie or a 2021 movie. And lastly, The United States vs. Billie Holiday. Not that big a fan of Lee Daniels, but, Precious is... and he made The Butler. But the story is interesting. I'll watch it if it's getting good reviews. There's a documentary that's basically about the same subject matter that came out in 2020 called Holiday, which I'll just watch that instead, probably. Okay, now for my top 10. So, the sequels that I didn't include in that huge list is because they are in this top 10. So, here we go. This is in no particular order. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, I didn't like Ghostbusters 2016 with Paul Feig directing it. I thought it was just a bit of a mess, to say the least. However, this is directed by Jason Reitman, who is the son of the original director of the original 2 Ghostbusters movies. And this seems to have a smaller feel to it. It almost feels like an episode of Stranger Things. And it could be interesting. I'm a little sick of doing like Goonies tributes. But it could be good. Like, if you have the original people behind the camera, they have a little more respect for the source material. And I think Bill Murray is coming back, and I think Dan Aykroyd's coming back. I would have loved to see Ghostbusters 3, but I guess I want to see this Ghostbusters end on a high note. I don't want Ghostbusters 2016 to be the last of Ghostbusters. Next, Top Gun Maverick and Mission Impossible 7. I made those as a tie because they're basically for the same reasons. I love Tom Cruise, okay? Tom Cruise can do nothing wrong in my opinion. I see my friends, they hate on me. They say I love Tom Cruise too much. There's no such thing as liking Tom Cruise too much. He does all of his own stunts. Look, in 2021, you're gonna want to give people a reason to go back to the movie theater. Okay? Top Gun Maverick, this guy learned how to fly planes just for this movie. And they take advantage of that shit. They put the camera in the fucking planes. And he's piloting it and doing all of these crazy acrobats. And Mission Impossible 7, look. Mission Impossible, ever since Mission Impossible 3, it's been amazing in my opinion. He's been climbing tall buildings, hanging off of airplanes, hanging off of helicopters, driving helicopters. These movies give me a reason to go to the movie theater. Like some of the superhero movies I was listing off earlier, like Black Widow, I was like, I'll watch it at home if it's good, I'll rent it, and stuff like that. This guy, Tom Cruise, is giving me a reason to go out to the theater. And look, part of me wishes that he went back to making stuff like Magnolia, and Born on the 4th of July, and movies like that. Because he's actually a good actor as well, and people tend to forget that. But at the same time, it's like, look, he's the only guy doing this kind of shit, so I can't be mad at him. Like, he's the only one filling that hole in Hollywood. So yeah. I just spilt my guts about how much I love Tom Cruise. Okay, next. Dune. Dune looked like an interesting movie. It was supposed to come out this year, in 2020. Got pushed a year into 2021. Directed by Denis Villeneuve, which maybe is the French-Canadian in me, but I love his movies. Blade Runner 2049 was awesome. I also love Prisoners. If you haven't seen Prisoners, Prisoners is a good movie. But this is his take on Dune. Also, another movie recommendation. Sorry, I keep going off on tangents. But if you want a good documentary, watch Jodorowsky's Dune. That's a good documentary as well about the Dune movie that never happened. However, Denis Villeneuve is taking his take on the Dune franchise. 2049 Blade Runner was so good that I'm gonna watch this. And it has an all-star cast, people like Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin, I think, is in it. And it's gonna be good to watch like an original in the sense creative. It's based on prior source material, obviously, but just an original top dollar blockbuster movie that isn't related to a superhero. I don't know. It's got my interest. Next, Babylon. So Damien Chazelle. I loved everything Damien Chazelle has made so far. I love Whiplash. I love La La Land. Don't laugh at me. I like La La Land. And for some reason, I didn't want to watch his documentary on Neil Armstrong. I thought it kind of looked cheesy. But I feel like that trailer didn't do it justice. The movie about Neil Armstrong that he made, called First Man, is actually a really good movie. And the soundtrack of that movie is really good too. So I'm curious, he can do no wrong at this point. This is a movie about transitioning from silent film era into the talkie era, which is something we've seen in Hollywood before in movies like Singing in the Rain. But yeah, the director involved, also in talks, are Brad Pitt and Emma Stone. I mean, this movie's bound to be good. Next, French Dispatch. The French Dispatch. This is the new Wes Anderson movie. Also supposed to come out in 2020, got pushed to 2021. But I've talked on this channel, I can't remember. Ugh, what was that doing there? Yeah, I wouldn't smell it. On this channel, I've talked about how I kind of wished Wes Anderson did something a little different. Because I watched The Isle of Dogs, and it was basically just stuff I've seen before from him in Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I don't think this is the movie that's going to do it. Like, I'd love to see Wes Anderson make a horror movie, but, alas, he makes good movies, so I don't give a shit. I think The French Dispatch looks good. Next, Nomadland. This was also supposed to come out in 2020. It's getting a lot of buzz from what I hear, and my friend Jackie told me to keep an eye out for this movie. It stars Frances McDormand, who I last saw her in the movie 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and she was fantastic in that. And without a doubt, she's going to be fantastic in this. I don't know if it looks up my alley, but yeah. Next, Last Night in Soho. This is Edgar Wright, director of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and Baby Driver. He's doing a flat-out horror movie, which I'm interested to see because if you look at movies like Shaun of the Dead or The World's End, he throws in elements of horror in there, and they're really interesting to me, and I'd want to see him flesh those out a bit more. We've also seen particularly funny people do the transition to horror pretty easily, like Danny McBride did with Halloween, and Jordan Peele did with Get Out. So I think the transition will be equally as smooth for Edgar Wright. Looks like an interesting movie. Next, I have The Many Saints of Newark. This is a prequel to The Sopranos, and it stars Ray Liotta. And if any of you guys are a fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, Joey Diaz is in this movie. I don't know if you'll be eating ass and snorting coke, but yeah, he's in this movie. I'm interested. To be honest, I haven't watched much Sopranos, but I've watched my brother watch The Sopranos, and from what I gathered from the few episodes that I've watched, it's a pretty good show. And based on the cast and the production and all that, I think this movie is going to be pretty interesting. It takes place in an interesting time period as well. New Jersey. Yeah, I think this is going to be a special movie. Next, I have Old. Old is the new movie that is being written, directed by M. Night Shyamalan, which has been a little hit and miss lately, but mostly hit in my opinion. I didn't like Glass, but I did like the movie before Glass. What was it called? The guy with the multiple personalities and all that stuff. And I actually liked the movie The Visit. The Visit, people didn't like it. I thought it was a fun time in the theater. I love it when a theater can cheer at a moment. And in that movie, there's a part where they build up the fact that the kid has OCD. And they fucking throw a dirty diaper in his face. Like, the old man takes his dirty diaper and throws it in his face. And that's one of those moments the theater went, oh!
You have a problem with germs, don't you?
So, I'm rooting for M. Night Shyamalan. He got a little cocky at some point. Times Magazine was calling him the next Spielberg. It kind of went to his head. But he scaled back everything, stopped making like these crazy budgeted films, like After Earth or whatever that was called, Afterlife, I don't know. He took a step back, was really critical of what he was doing wrong, and he's trying to improve upon it. And this is based on prior source material, this is based off a comic book. And if you've watched Unbreakable, this guy clearly knows how comic books work. So I want to see him make this movie. I'm rooting for M. Night. I want him to make a dank comeback, get maybe an Oscar nomination for writing. Who knows? That may be a little wishful thinking. But, okay. I kept this one for last. This, no doubt in my mind, is going to be my favorite movie of 2021. If it gets released in 2021, that is. Guys, you might not have heard, they're making a Jackass 4. This is my most anticipated movie of the year. I don't care. It's Jackass 4. And people are like, they're too old. Guys, the older and fatter they get, the funnier it is, in my opinion. I'm just a sick fuck. I don't care. They had 10 years since Jackass 3. They've had 10 years to think of some crazy, dumb stunts. I've been looking at Steve-O on YouTube. He's been doing some dumb shit. I want to see these guys back together. I want to see some real... I feel like entertainment has become less raunchy in the last few years. And I'd love to see that 90s MTV grungy, gross, vile, slimy entertainment return to theaters. I want to see people get hit by dildos. I'm a man of simple pleasures. Okay? I think Jackass 4 is going to be the best movie of 2021. I don't know. Guys, am I crazy? I just listed off a huge list of sequels. The only one that interests me is Jackass 4. I don't know. It needs to happen. Alright, so that was my list of what to expect in 2021. Expect a lot of sequels, but as far as good movies, the top 10 I listed off at the end, guys, go see those in theaters because they'll probably be worth your time and money. That said, I'll see you in the next year. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much with all my crazy tangents, but what can I say?